Okay, good evening, everybody. I'm happy to be back here. Thank you very much for putting back this event. It's also exciting to see. I think we doubled the amount of people since last time. So that's also great. Briefly about last time, I'm not sure who was here. Last time I spoke about a little bit of an overview of the whole entire startup ecosystem here in Switzerland. Who was here last time? Maybe just by a show of hands. No one. Okay, good. So I guess we tripled. So I guess I'll give you a brief introduction also about myself. My name is Cédric Bollag. I started a blog about startups, technology, and innovation called globaltechbox.com. Basically what I do is I interview CEOs and founders in a short video interview, and I put them online. And it's been really a fantastic ride since I started that, and it gave me really deep insight into all what's going on in the startup world, specifically where I lived before in Israel, but also now here in Switzerland. So I gave a little bit of an overview. You can still find it on my website. It's audio recorded like this time, and you can listen to it if you're interested. But today, I really want to talk more about trends that I see. And when I talk about trends, I want to take it a little bit to the next step, where we're not just analyzing. I also worked for a research company for a while. What we did is we analyzed how many startups are in each vertical and where they had most amount of startups. That's where the trend was. But I want to be a little bit a step before. I'm looking for cases, or when I was preparing this presentation, I was looking for verticals where we as Switzerland have a chance to become a world domination in that vertical. And you will see what I mean with this. In Switzerland, fortunately enough, over the, I would say, last 70 years, we were able to accumulate, as was also said before previously, we seem to perceive outside as rich. We seem to perceive that like we have a lot of wealth here, but we cannot rest on this. We cannot stay based on that we are happy with our success. We have to get to the next step. And if we look into various verticals that are already, let's say, trendy, then I think sometimes we already kind of missed the train as Switzerland. And I'm kind of wanted to present to you two verticals that I believe we still have a chance to win. Now, when you look into the startup ecosystem, there has been, especially in the last year, a couple of exits. For some reason, the valuation has never been disclosed, or let's say the value that it was sold for, so usually it's not being disclosed to the public. So for example, Movo, like a moving platform, or Qumran was also sold to the US, and they never disclosed it. I don't understand why. I read yesterday in an article that we have, I think, 2 unicorns in Switzerland. One of them is MindMaze. I'm not sure if you heard about them. And the second one is a pharmaceutical company that I don't really understand so much. But the point is we don't have too many unicorns. And we have to start making sure that people know that we can also produce highly successful startups. So here's my question to you. We as Switzerland, I know a lot of experts in here also, but what do you see us as Switzerland? Where do you see our strength? Anybody wants to throw out some words? Where is the strength of Switzerland or the society? Sorry? Fintech, but yes, but I'm looking more for the characteristics of us. So, stability, good. Quality, perfection, I would say. Discreteness. Reliability. Trust, yes. Privacy, yes. Regulations. The words you just mentioned now seems to me, especially trust, seems to be one of the trending topics in the next few years. When you look at the technologies that are coming up, and I will show you in a second, why don't we define ourselves with the strengths that we already have, with the characteristic that you now all mentioned, and try to use the upcoming technologies as our springboard for the next couple of years. For that, we need people who can actually do that. And that's, I hope, us in here, that we can really define Switzerland in the next, let's say, 5 to 50 years, let's say. And the first topic I want to talk about is blockchain. And blockchain, I think trust was mentioned before already. I think it's probably like the biggest opportunity we have in here in Switzerland to kind of like use this, what we built up already in the last 50 years with all types of verticals where we are perceived as trustworthy, we are perceived as precise, we are perceived as, yes, we can trust our financials to the Swiss. And blockchain gives us a great opportunity. And if you look at the landscape at the moment, what's most known at the moment is the crypto valley, Zug. I'm not sure who visited there. Sorry? I live there. You live there, okay. So the Crypto Valley is really trying to position itself as the hub for blockchain and cryptocurrencies. Now, yes, there is a big hype about ICOs. Yes, there's a big hype about white papers and how much money you can raise, which is not up for discussion right now. But the fact is, there seems to be something in the air that Zug makes it possible for blockchain and cryptocurrency companies to be attractive. And that's something that I think is so crucial to understand, that blockchain will dominate our lives in the next few years. And for that reason, there was recently an event, Blockchain Summit. I'm not sure if anybody was there in Zug, Blockchain Summit. So basically what happened there, and that was also one of the first times for me, where you kind of see startups that are in the blockchain sphere or in the blockchain vertical, or they're using the blockchain technology, but they are not necessarily in the financial world. So for example, Datecoin, so what they're doing is they're using blockchain for dating, which is also interesting when you think of all the implication that it has before you meet the person and it's on the blockchain. Then you have Tent up there. That's actually a Swiss company founded by the former Chief Innovation Officer of Credit Suisse, Marco Abele. And what he does is he tokenizes luxury goods, which is also interesting. So you don't have to own a Porsche anymore, you just own partially, and whenever you need it, you can have access to it. So this is just to show you that blockchain is not just going to be in the financial world, it's going mainstream, but the applications of blockchain is in its infant shoes. So the second topic I want to talk about today is artificial intelligence. Now, when you talk about AI, I think there's a lot of misconception about it, what exactly it is. And I would like today to talk about the true artificial intelligence. So the neuroscience, talking about the brain code, not talking about, let's say, advanced algorithms where sometimes people use it in their pitch decks to raise a lot of money. So I want to talk about this concept of really trying to get the world to the next step. Let's think about the times before we had planes, airplanes. People tried, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the story too much, with the history, but people tried to imitate birds and tried to use the wings, and then they realized it doesn't work. And right now we are in that stage with the brain, cognitive science. And what happened then, they realized that we don't have to try to do like this. We have to try to understand the concept of flying with the wind, with the upstream, and that's when the flying started. And now we're exactly in this stage with artificial intelligence. We have the computing powers, we have the knowledge, but we couldn't really combine it to really get to the brain code. And for that we have, number one, an organization here in Switzerland. It's called Swiss Cognitive. They just recently won an award at the ICT Awards. And what they do is they try to become a hub in Switzerland for all questions that you have about cognitive computing, machine learning, deep learning, artificial intelligence, and really try to become this platform and the hub for everything that is connected to these topics. And like this, I believe, if they're going to be successful, and you'll see on the next slide what they're currently doing, then we will really be able, us as Switzerland, to position ourselves as a leading hub or a leading country in true artificial intelligence, so neuroscience. What they're doing currently, they're doing great PR and social media content. And what they started doing, because they realized a lot of people are scared of jobs that they're going to lose because of the machines they're going to take over. So they have a campaign, and I think you see that they're now up to 155 different job titles that are being developed now or being introduced now to the world with these new job titles. So for example, Director of Analytics and Artificial Intelligence, Software Engineering, Machine Learning. So all of these titles that as of now, they're very rare, but they're going to be mainstream in the next few years. So that's the first company or organization that I wanted to show you in the AI space. The second one is Starmind. Everybody heard about Starmind? Starmind is founded by Pascal Kaufmann. By the way, that's the thumbnail of my show. So I have the startup show, so that's what it looks like. I always wear my yellow sweater, so that's kind of my thing. Pascal Kaufmann is himself a neuroscientist, and he founded a company called Starmind. What they do is the company brain, kind of like knowledge management. And then it seems like he had spare time, and he founded a foundation also in Zug called Mindfire.global. And what his goal is to really crack the brain code. Now, what he started to doing, and it's going to be, I think, if I remember correctly, in May, he's bringing together the top 100 neuroscientists from around the world. He has the funding already, to Davos, to a hotel. He kind of locks them in together with, I think, 20 or 30 students. and they are being briefed about the latest development in neuroscience. And that's when mission 1 starts. That's exactly when they say, okay, like now we want to try to crack the brain code. And then they have, hopefully they succeed after mission 1, but unlikely. And then they have mission 2, similar to Apollo, the moon landing. So when I was saying about visionary before, and Pascal Kaufmann is kind of like my role model, because he is not concerned that we're not going to figure out the brain code. He is just saying we have another mission till we find the solution to it. And he is having a different, or let's say a different approach in neuroscience, how to get to the solution of how to crack the brain code. That's Pascal Kaufmann, Mindfire.global. I would totally check it out, especially if you know, let's say, neuroscientists or people who are in that space and that you think could be helpful for this project. I would encourage them to apply to get flown to Davos. Yeah, so I'm already almost at the end, but like Switzerland, what's next? I would say I just tried to give you like 2 ideas of where we as Switzerland could position ourselves in the next few years to really become like a leading country in these 2 verticals where no one else is yet. So blockchain, we discussed the crypto valley and hopefully some blockchain applications, and in the artificial intelligence, we had like Swiss Cognitive, Starmind, and last but not least, Mindfire.global. And thank you very much for listening. I really appreciate it, and have an enjoyable evening.